Riding a unicycle in general is pretty difficult, but riding it uphill or downhill is a whole different ballgame. Well, it's a very similar ballgame, I guess. Let's first start with uphill. Throughout an entire crank cycle, you're most powerful at your 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock crank positions. Well, mostly 3 o'clock. You're not powerful at all at your 12 o'clock and your 6 o'clock positions. This may be evident if you're starting at a vertical crank position and you're pushing down and you're not really going anywhere. But you're really powerful when your crank is horizontal. That's your 3 o'clock position. We're gonna have to use this to our advantage when going uphill. Generally speaking, when you're going uphill, you have to generate more power to move the unicycle forward, because not only are you fighting the resistance on the ground, you're fighting gravity. But you're gonna have to utilize that most advantageous crank position to generate power for your entire crank rotation. The opportunities to generate power are really only when your right foot and your left foot are at 3 o'clock. So 2 times throughout the entire crank rotation, which is no different than riding on normal flat land. If you don't take advantage of it, you're gonna end up stopping or falling off due to lack of speed. You'll also notice if you ever try to ride a unicycle uphill that it's really hard to do it if you're not holding on to your seat, which is weird, right? You're generating the same power pushing down if you're holding on to your seat or you're not holding on to your seat. So why is holding on to your seat helpful when riding uphill? When you're pushing down on the pedals at your 3 o'clock position, you want to do that so hard that it carries you through the dead zone, and so that your opposite foot can get to the 3 o'clock position. That takes a lot of power. If you apply too much power, it might actually be pushing you off the seat, which is bad for 2 reasons. One is because the force that would have been transferred to making the wheels turn actually gets used elsewhere where you don't want it. It's wasted energy. And 2, when you get off the seat, you're not really riding your unicycle as efficiently as you could. You're not going to be able to apply force to those pedals, and therefore you're not going to be able to ride. What holding that handle does is it actually prevents you from getting lifted off the seat. It takes the energy that would have been used to push you up off the seat, and it locks you in to the unicycle, and that force is less likely to be transferred to pushing you off the seat, and it's more likely to be put on the pedals. So your 2 tips for riding uphill are really exaggerate and really take advantage of that 3 o'clock position on the crank. It has to carry you all the way through half of a crank cycle so that your other foot is in the 3 o'clock position, so you can take advantage of that power stroke again. And the second thing is hold on to that handle, because if you don't hold on to the handle, that power that you're generating onto that 3 o'clock position of the pedal could be transferred to pushing you off the unicycle, not onto the pedals to making the wheel move. There's actually a third tip for riding up hills, and that is to jump. And it seems weird to say that because I just finished saying you want to stay on your seat and you don't want to jump out of your seat. So let me explain. So let's say you're snowboarding. I'm a horrible snowboarder, so this is a bad analogy for me. But let's say you're snowboarding and you come to a flat section and you lost your speed. You want to traverse the flat section without getting out of your boots. The way to do that, push down into the snow, push off quick where you have friction, and then slide the rest of the way. That's what you need to do when you're going uphill. But you're also keeping the unicycle really, really tight, so you're not losing any force to pushing you off the unicycle that needs to be pushed back on the pedal. So all together, once you're at a 3 o'clock position, jump a little bit, hold on to that seat, bring it all the way through until your other foot is gonna hit that 3 o'clock position, and then do it again. This is gonna take some practice, so start off with mellow hills in the beginning. The more speed, the better, because when you have no speed, you lose your balance. Now, riding downhill on a unicycle is a whole different ballgame. You actually produce no power. You're just letting gravity take you for the ride. The goal for going downhill is to decelerate the pedals on the upstroke. That's pretty much it. If you didn't do anything going downhill, you would just keep picking up speed. Obviously, if you're powerful pushing down at the 3 o'clock position, you're gonna be powerful on the upstroke of the 9 o'clock position. So that's where all your deceleration is gonna happen. The reason you wanna decelerate is you're gonna control your speed, especially if you have rocky terrain or uneven terrain ahead of you. B, you wanna keep your balance, definitely. And I guess there's no C, that's it. If you're going down a really steep hill, you might find it really hard to decelerate. You might feel like the pedals are just taking you along for the ride, and they probably are. So if you're missing your opportunity to push down hard at the 9 o'clock position and saving it for like the 10, 11, or even 12 o'clock position, you're not gonna be as advantageous at decelerating the unicycle as you could be, and therefore it's gonna feel like the unicycle is taking you for a ride. It's gonna feel like the crank is out of control. This is where a little bit of strength plays into it, because if you're not strong enough to decelerate the unicycle, then it's just gonna slip out from under you. But in reality, even if you don't skip leg day and you're super strong, you might not be strong enough for the steepest downhill, which is why hydraulic disc handbrakes were added to unicycles, because people are incredible and they're taking them down steeper and steeper terrain So really going downhill, you only have 2 tips. You can really take advantage of that 9 o'clock position. And if you have handbrakes, use them. I hope this video helps. Let me know in the comments if you have questions or concerns, and consider subscribing if you want more unicycle related content. Thanks and good luck.